I can get away with saying things that other people can't quite get away with because it's somehow beneath the radar. Oh man, like you're catching me off guard. Like that's a question I need to prepare and do homework. Most rappers in India don't know the debt they owe to reggae music. Johnny Osbourne tells me, look, you can't go anywhere in the world and represent reggae music. Reggae music cannot be divorced from Black power politics.
Mm-hmm. So your name, Delhi Sultanate, is not neutral, nor is your work, I feel like.
Right.
Why did you pick Delhi Sultanate?
Well, actually, to be honest, the name was neutral when I picked it.
Yeah.
And the environment has like changed on us in the last 2 decades. Like initially, I was very young when I picked the name. And I come from a reggae and hip hop background. So I wanted something that represents my region.
Yeah.
And then in reggae music, also often artists assume like titles of royalty.
Yeah.
You know, it's like reclaiming this whole idea of power and empire and titles and stuff like that, you know. So that was at that, I was already politically aware because of the music I've gotten into.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying to take banga with my name. You know what I'm saying? But that now it's like...
It's so loaded.
Now it's so loaded. It's like... You know, even I thought, okay, this was actually an interesting moment in Indian history when a lot of the syncretic Hindu-Muslim cultural trends that make India so rich come from that period.
Yeah.
But now it's like a lot of people just write me off. You know, they're like, oh yeah, what do you expect for someone who calls himself Delhi Sultanate and stuff like that.
How does an Indian man get into making Patois as his medium for his art?
I spent formative childhood, and the other funny thing is people say, where did you get into Patois music? I tell them I got into it in Germany, and they're like, what?
I mean, they had a big scene during the 90s.
They did have a big scene. So when I was a kid, my mom is an academic, and I grew up in a university town in Germany where there was a big subculture of hip-hop and reggae music. And I was part of a little crew, and actually some of the big hip-hop artists in Germany were part of our little crew, you know, and this is when we were like 13, 14, 15, so very young.
Okay.
But we saw slightly older kids who were doing sound system, and there was a pirate radio station that was tolerated by the government, but that was kind of our window to the world. So there we learned about reggae music. There was a show every week that these older kids, they were not much older than us. They were like 16, 17, where we were like looking up to them. So they did a reggae show, and they had this whole sound system concept.
Yeah.
Then I saw these older kids like introduce me to reggae. And there was a couple of them who were singing in Patois, and I love Patois because of the rhythm and the expressiveness of it.
The sound of it.
The sound of it. It's a cool language.
It is.
It's a really cool language.
Because it's like it's Creole, right? So it's not like fully neither here nor there, kind of.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of Indian influences on it too, because of all the Indian indentured labor that went to Jamaica. So, I mean, I didn't think so much about it. Often you get a little bit older, you read some theory, you can come up with all kinds of cool reasons to speak Patois. But when I was a kid, it just sounded damn cool. And we're like, and I had idols, and I used to look up to Buju Banton and Sizzla and Bounty Killer, and like wanted to be like them, you know. So just phonetically learned Patois.
Really?
Yeah, like initially sometimes I wouldn't understand all the lyrics also, but just learn them by heart phonetically, and then slowly sometimes I started to learn the meaning of words. And
so all by ear, basically.
Yeah, all by ear.
But, I mean, of course your environment influenced you, but do you think it was also, you were young at that point, but was it also as you grew up a stylistic or an aesthetic choice that you wanted to make?
I chose reggae music again and again and again in my life. I've kind of come back to it.
Yeah.
But people also joke because it's the first thing I did when I came of age as a teenager. So let's say like I started rapping when I was like 10 years old, you know.
Okay.
But this Patois thing would be from like 12, 13, 14 onwards.
Still young.
Yeah. And now 30 years later, I'm doing the same thing, you know, and it's like I did all these degrees and this, that, but they all joke. I came back to the first thing, to my like childhood love, you know, as a practice.
I'm more curious to know how it translates though. Like, the common Indian person isn't going to register what you say when you say it in Patois. And it's often like themed with resistance. Do you think that softens the impact a little bit, or like, you know, because it has so much of like a spirit of liberation, reggae music. Do you think it softens the impact?
Of course it does.
Yeah.
I mean, that comes both from a position of class and caste privilege. But of course, I mean, it's also changed now, but I can get away with saying things that other people can't quite get away with because it's somehow beneath the radar,
What does that mean?
I think that if you say some things in Hindi and Tamil, you get hammered, And I think I got away, at least in the past. The environment is also changing now. There's more policing, generally, of artistic expression.
Of course,
I'm sure it softens the impact.
So
it's more foreign, it's a bit, people don't know quite how to place it. I mean, I must say also, actually, to come back to your earlier question, the reason though I still push Patois is that most rappers in India don't know the debt they owe to reggae music. Like the whole craft of MCing, of rapping on the mic, of talking cool over instrumentals, started in Jamaica, started with reggae music. Hip hop started there. The first rappers in New York were guys from Jamaica who were inspired,
Really?
of course, like Kool Herc, all of these guys, Biggie Smalls, they all come from Jamaican backgrounds.
Okay.
So Jamaican sound system culture lies at the root of hip hop also. We owe a tremendous debt to this culture. And so for me, I'm actually proud of the fact that I can represent this culture here. And so it's visible, like at a music festival, there is some reggae visible, there's some Patois. It's like what I do now, this sound system session with me on the mic talking, it's really the foundation of all dance music. Forget just reggae and hip hop. So many conventions of dance music, even in techno, go back to what these pioneers did in ghettos in Kingston, Jamaica. So for me to uphold that tradition here, it's what I love.
And also what you said about like saying things but going under the radar, flying under the radar. Do you think it's kind of codifying dissent when you do it in Patois?
Perhaps. On the other hand, we're pretty outspoken and I think we're pretty clear, and the other thing is we also speak directly to people. So if you come to a sound system session, we're not very ambiguous about what we're saying.
Yeah.
And the other thing I do is that when we do sessions in different regions, I can represent the ethos of reggae music and the spirit of resistance. And I think it's also important for us to make connections. Like these struggles and what we're facing here, many people have gone through this. And in fact, the colonial experience that we've had in India, Africans and Indians in Jamaica went through the worst colonial experience.
Yeah.
And they showed us what you can do with culture, with music, with art, when you don't have conventional political and economic power. That's a lesson for us to learn and to keep coming back to.
I am going to come to the organizing force of music, but...
Oh, sorry, I just finished my earlier thought. So I can give the general spirit, but what we do is if I'm going to, let's say, Manipur, if we're doing a gig in Maharashtra, I'll get local artists or poets to work with us because they can speak on things. They have specificity. We can platform them and they can talk about things that are important for people. I think that I choose Patois because that's what I grew up with. And it's something that I can do here that other people maybe can't do here. But there's a lot of people who rap in many Indian languages who do a better job than I ever could. So I stick to what I can do.
But you don't want to water down your essence is what I mean, just to be more marketable, let's say. No, right?
No, man, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in critical mass more than in a lot of people. I think that's true for social movements too. If there's like 50 people there, if there's 10 people there who get you, who've been with you for 10 years, who are ready to be on the streets with you, that's worth more than if you have 1,000 people who follow hype. But, you may get views and get numbers, but are those people loyal? Are they going to be there for you when it counts? Does that translate? Like, I found sometimes the beautiful thing about sound system sessions over the last 10 years is, what does community really mean? It means that there's trust. Like we can meet each other at a Shaheen Bagh or at a protest site. We know each other from the dance and we can work together. We can okay, cool, let's do a project. Let's start a community library here. And that has to build on a relationship of trust.
I was going to get to that actually. So sound system culture itself uses sound sort of almost like a gathering call, like almost like a call to prayer. I don't know. That's how I kind of hear it. Is that how you see it as well?
I think there's something very primal about getting together to music. It's like a quintessential human cultural activity. If you think about it, like the earliest human cultural artifacts that we have are instruments, like a bone flute,
Yeah.
from like Stone Age times. All cultures have music. The most high tech and the most low tech. Music is the one thing we all have.
Yeah.
It goes deep into our DNA. Like, in fact, some people wonder if our capacity for musicality and our capacity for language co-evolved with each other. When humans had to coordinate action to, God knows what, hunt an animal, defend each other, but to coordinate as a group, they would use language and music. They evolved together.
Yeah.
So it goes deep into our thing. And I think that a lot of stuff goes back to sacred ritual of some sort.
Yeah.
It fills a deep need that we have. In reggae music, there's different energies that are present at a sound system session, and for me, all of those energies are important.
Yeah.
There is a kind of sexual energy that's there. There can be this kind of badman, gangster, warrior energy, which I also think is important. I don't judge it. And then there's reverence. In reggae music, more than in other music, there's this revolutionary element too, but there's also deep reverence.
Yeah.
It's like for earth, for spirit, for God, whatever your concept of that may be.
There is a mobilizing aspect to it. That's 100%. You're getting a lot of people together in a place that probably they wouldn't be at. But then do you also feel like there's also this somatic bodily experience that you wouldn't get elsewhere?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why I use a sound system, why I play records, why I use analog gear, tube amplifiers is because tube equalizers is I want that warm, non-compressed sound. And even sub-bass is one of the first frequencies you hear when you're in the womb, I think just the experience, the physiological experience of listening to reggae music in particular, but non-compressed music, it creates a sense of physical well-being in the body. When people are at a session for 5 hours, you notice everyone's happy afterwards. They feel good in their bodies.
Yeah.
One, because I think they danced in unison with other people. So there's many interesting things that happen with music. Like, why do all armies still have music drills as part of how they train soldiers? And I think a reason for that is that moving to unison, to a drum beat in unison, it helps you to transcend your individual identity and become part of a group. That can also have negative connotations. That can also be a mob that goes and kills together.
Or like a cult. Yeah.
Yeah. But it also, you transcend your the confines of your individual self, and you become part of a larger collective. Music can do that, I think drums and music plays a massive role in that. So this experience of community, of a form of unity, the call and response that you have at a sound system session that you can also have at a protest site is something we miss in this world where we're so alone often and so isolated,
And plain old consumption of music isn't going to cut it, right?
No, in fact, sound system music there's a nice analogy for this. Sound system music is not designed to be heard at home with headphones. They say like with headphones, you put music into your body. In a sound system, you put bodies into an ocean of music. They're just immersed by sound waves. And the sub bass is something that you feel. Some of those frequencies you don't even hear with your ears. It's like you feel it in your body,
Yeah. You're bringing reggae to India. We gave Jamaica their first cannabis. Is this you balancing the scales?
I mention that sometimes. I mention that sometimes. But I mention actually more in Jamaica,
Yeah.
Because they're always like, who's this Indian playing reggae music, No, I'm not balancing the scales. Jamaica is a cultural superpower.
No, of course.
Yeah. And Jamaica has... think about it. Jamaica is the only colony that has made its version of English aspirational. You have people in Japan and Sweden trying to learn Patois. Think about it. The equivalent would be if you have guys in France and Korea trying to learn how to speak Indian English.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. So your feeling of kinship comes from... I've heard you say that there's a similar colonial history and there's some heritage that we had like an overlap. Our people went there. You feel like it's a celebration of culture, which of course, fair enough. How do you discern where the line is between cherry picking a culture and celebrating it?
I think specifically with reggae music, there's a lot of cultural appropriation all over and in Europe, in India as well. One of the criteria I pick is that reggae music cannot be divorced from Black power politics, And reggae has a massive intellectual tradition also. You can't call yourself a Rasta and not have read Marcos Garvey, not have engaged with the politics of what that actually means, not engaged with that whole movement, So you need critical engagement with this. Like, what are they actually saying? Where is this coming from? How does this apply to me? What's my role within this? And do you have approval of the elders within that culture?
Okay.
It's something I struggled with this too. Like when I was younger, it's like, what's my position in this? Is it really cool for me to sing in Patois and to do this here? And it's also good, I think, to have that as an ongoing question.
Yeah.
To constantly question yourself that. But I also had experiences where I had some elders from Jamaica, like Johnny Osborne or Big Youth or Toots, or there's a guy called Rory from Stone Love or Father Festus. These are all like pillars of the culture,
Okay.
So they saw me do my thing and they're like, you want to go and go, like, you can go anywhere in the world. I represent reggae music. Now, if they say that to me,
They did.
Yeah, man. It's like if Festus or Johnny Osborne tells me, look, you can't go anywhere in the world and represent reggae music, then I don't need approval from anybody
You've got
else.
the cosign.
I got this. Yeah, I'm good then, I'll continue to question myself and I listen. If someone in India tells me like, yo, this is messed up, then I'll engage. I'll think about, I'll engage and reflect on them, But I do it with more confidence than I did perhaps 10 years ago.
It is load bearing in that way. Like what you said, that seeing an Indian person kind of, really so immersed in Jamaican culture. It is load bearing Jamaican culture in itself. Like, besides the reggae, I feel like there's a question of blackness, there's a question of racial politics. How do you navigate that? Like, how do you navigate not speaking over lived, embodied experience?
I mean, look, there's a lot of Indians that made huge contributions to Jamaican culture. And as far as blackness is concerned, we in India need to learn from blackness.
Yeah.
We have our own equivalent of that here. You also have Dalit Panthers.
Of course.
We have a lot of strong movements. And you also have the equivalent of white supremacy here. So for us to be students of blackness and to represent that here, with all due respect, is important. Otherwise, all of us, so many of us are inadvertent carriers of whiteness.
Yeah.
In terms of like the cultural values we espouse and embody. So to consciously be inspired to read like Black Panthers, read Malcolm X and be like, okay, how can this apply to me?
Yeah.
What's my role? How does this? And many of it does. And it's not like it doesn't go the other way around. Like so many black resistance movements also got inspired by Indian thinkers, Like so many got like Homi Baba, so many, So when it comes to reggae music, we're humble students because they have done something extraordinary as a former colonial country and how they employed culture and colonized the world with music, but we're not students in all fields. And I think that what we need to do is we're culturally oriented still towards Europe and America. But we need to learn from each other. We need to learn from South America. We can learn from freedom theology in South America. They can learn from how we did things here. Like that's the cultural exchange and the bonds of solidarity and the unity.
That brings me to authorship in Jamaican music. So they have a culture of a shared knowledge system, more variation over like the riddims, I guess. They don't look at like authorship in the same and ownership the same way we do. Do you think we need to bring that here as well?
Yes and no. See, it's a mixed bag in Jamaica because in Jamaica, it also meant that a lot of musicians didn't get paid.
Yeah.
And label owners were very exploitive. So, I don't want to romanticize that. At the same time, this thing of having riddims and having 200 versions on one riddim, it does create a kind of cultural bedrock that makes it easy for MCs to jump on. Everybody knows the real rock rhythm. I can play with a live band anywhere in the world, a reggae band. I can say, play me real rock rhythm, play me Stalag rhythm. And we all know what's up because we share the same culture. So I think it's good for the growth of the culture. It's a kind of schooling also that happens.
Informally, I feel like. Nina Simone said an artist's duty is to reflect the times. Some thinkers think that music is prophetic in nature and that you don't need to literally reflect the times. Where do you stand on that?
All art is political. And I read something nice earlier today that said that a people's liberation, the genesis of a people's liberation begins in its art. So we need to give a lot of care to our art. not everyone needs to be explicitly political.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs to shout from the rooftop.
Hmm.
But music and all art is inherently political, and sometimes it's in the sound of it. Like in reggae music, it's not just the message, the dub. If you listen to dub on a sound system, it's the sound of the music that carries meaning, So I don't think everyone needs to be explicitly political, but you need to be honest.
Yeah.
You need to be honest. And the second thing is that if you say, oh, I'm not political, I'm apolitical, that doesn't mean you're apolitical. It means you're supporting the status quo.
Yeah.
And we're living in an unjust system and an exploitive system, and we can't afford to be blind.
Yeah.
Favorite
revolutionary?
Oh man, like you're catching me off guard. Like that's a question I need to prepare and do homework, homework for.
Off the dome.
Man, just because many people don't know, there's so many in India also that we don't know about, So many, like unsung heroes everywhere in the Northeast and all over the map. And I would have done some research and brought someone inspiring that people don't know about.
Oh no, that's all good.
Off the top of my dome, there's someone called King Zumbi, Prince Zumbi in Brazil.
Okay.
Who led a slave revolution. You had those in Jamaica too. In Jamaica, they call the rebel slaves called the Maroons. In Brazil, they call them Quelembolos.
Okay.
And they're also a lot of capoeira.
Okay.
Goes back to Quelembolo culture. So they led a slave revolution and then had an independent slave kingdom in the north of Brazil, deep in the Amazon, where you had natives and Africans, and they were there for a long time before the Portuguese eventually destroyed them, you know. But many more, man. Audre Lorde is a revolutionary to me. So many.
What's a book you'd recommend everybody reads?
One book I read recently that I think everyone should read is about plants.
Really? Yeah.
It's called The Light Eaters.
Okay.
It talks about plant intelligence and plant consciousness, and it's a recent book. There's a lot of research and science that's come out in the last 10 years that's not part of popular knowledge now, but that book changes how you perceive your own humanness, and it changes how you move through the world. Okay. So I think it's fundamental knowledge that we should all have. It aligns well with indigenous knowledge systems that looked at trees and plants with a lot more respect, like we also did, you know? It's humbling, but it also makes you question a lot of things about what is intelligence actually, what is agency, what is consciousness. So, and it's very well written. So I recommend The Light Eaters.
Okay. Adding that to my...
Oh yeah, another one. Read Adrienne Marie Brown, Emergent Strategy.
Okay.
We're all in a moment now where we need to change things.
Yeah.
How society is organized need to change. We can't live in these patriarchal, self-serving, oppressive, authoritarian systems anymore. But that begins with changing in relationships, changing how you and me relate to each other, how we relate in relationship to our groups, in our intimate relationships, how we relate to the earth, you know. So I like Adrienne Marie Brown because they're fully cognizant of the crisis that we're living in that defines our time. But they're not numbing themselves. They're not leaning into rage. They're hopeful.
Okay.
And they're generative. And they're looking to nature for answers. And it's this group of black feminists that are often at the edge of knowledge that slowly filters down to the rest of us. But we need to look to them for leadership.
If you were soundtracking a resistance movement, top 5 picks?
Oh, see, there's another question where I was like, man, I wish I'd had some homework.
The one.
No, man, many. Again, I can think of many, but there's so many cool songs. All right, top of my head.
Yeah.
Fela Kuti.
Oh, love.
Yeah, Fela
Colonial
Kuti.
mentality.
Yeah, Fela Kuti, colonial mentality. KRS-One. Sound of the Police. Bob Marley, Revolution. Junior Murvin, Police and Thieves. And let me pick some new songs also, like Bounty Killer, Fed Up, Sizzler, No White God. But there's many, man. And actually, because I come from a reggae background, let me get away with just sticking to that genre. Because we have the most amazing protest music and revolutionary music in India.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Like you go to Orissa, you go to places, people have come up with the most amazing poetry and music forms.
Yeah.
You know?